Welcome everyone. In this first section, we're going to go through the foundation of what you need to set up to start your agency. So in this first section, we're going to cover how to select and register your domain name. So the whole point here is to make sure that you don't appear scammy. Honestly, I see it times and times again where people come in with like weird domain names, with numbers, hyphens. Essentially, you can do anything you want. But the reality is the weirder your domain, the less likely your prospects are to click on your links. Let's go through a number of different things you need to do and strategies to make sure that you've got the best chances at getting your emails opened. As you can see here, there's over 400 million domains that have been registered around the world. So your goal here is not only to stand apart from your competition, but also make sure you're relatable, you make sure that your prospect directly understand what your agency does. So let's go through the selection criteria. So the first factor is brevity. Make sure it's not too long. This is for two main reasons. So when you grow with your agency, people will ask your domain name and your email all the time. So the longer your domain name is, the longer that will always take. And of course, the more chances are that people get it wrong. So just make sure it's nice and short. We recommend 6 to 14 character max. And honestly, trust me, this will be a lifesaver if you do this. Also, I highly recommend that you avoid hyphens and numbers. This is because it appears scammy for the average person. If you've ever seen scammy websites, they often have weird hyphens, numbers, weird characters, so just stay away from that. So if your agency is called Digital Growth Strategies, you could use dggrow.com. That's nice and short, easy to remember. It's just really important to make sure it's easy for your prospect to understand what you do. So here I always give a number of different examples, so you can go through that. The second key factor is memorability. So you want to make sure it's simple to remember. So your prospect will receive thousands of emails, and if you want to make sure that you stand out, make sure it's easy to remember. So of course, use familiar words, use words that essentially your target customers actually use on a frequent basis. All of these really will help you. As I said, number 3 now, relevance. It's pretty much the same, but you really want to make sure that you use words that are used in your target lingo. Like this is just super important because otherwise people will be like, who the hell is emailing me? Where does this come from? And so make sure that you try and do things like that. Same with the fourth factor, keyword inclusion. So you want to make sure that people directly know what your services are. So again, an example of this, if your name is conversion rate optimizers, just make sure you have something like conversion optimization or conversionoptimize.com. With this, if you send an email, people will directly know what it is that you do. And the last point, but probably one of the most important points, is the domain extension. So that is the last bit of your domain name. Specifically now, because there are 400 million domain names that have been registered, it's really difficult to find a .com domain. And of course, .com domain is still to this day absolute king of domains. But most words and most combination of simple words are taken. This is where you start people getting really creative, and be careful with that. I would recommend that you really stick to those 4 types of domain extension. .com, if you can find a .com, definitely go for it. You can use a geographical domain extension. If you focus on the US, just use .com. If you focus on Australia, use .com.au. If you focus on the UK, use .co.uk. But again, I'd be careful to go too crazy here, because if you focus on one specific country, it then becomes really difficult for you to go and target other countries. Because again, you've got to think about relevance. And if you've got a domain name typically from Australia and you try and target someone in Europe, they will literally be like, what is that domain name? I've never seen something like that, so it will look weird. Now there's kind of 2 newer domain extensions that you can use. .ai, of course, a lot of people are using this specifically if you kind of have an agency that tries to target more like AI related stuff, or you add AI into your services. This could be a great domain extension to use. And .io if you use a little bit more like tech related stuff. Those are for me the 5 key factors when selecting your domain name. And I know you would have spent so much time trying to come up with a name for your agency that, again, it's often a shame to come and essentially erase all of that work by buying a crappy domain name. To make sure and to help you find the best domain name that you could, I've actually added a ChatGPT prompt that you can simply just copy and paste and just change a number of things. We've made those ChatGPT prompts as extensive and as deep as possible to really encompass all of those different key factors. And this one in particular will give you 20 different unique names, but of course, feel free to increase that to 100 or even more. So when it comes down to domain registration, there are a number of websites you can actually use to do this, but the reality is to make your life easier, stick with the first 2 or 3 on that list and really just don't try. Even if you can get a cheaper rate somewhere else, it will make your life so much harder. GoDaddy is number 1. Google Domain is now, of course, because you're most likely going to get started and use Gmail and Google Suite for a number of different things. So that really makes it easier for you down the line. And then you can use something like Namecheap. But anything else, honestly, stay away from it. I would suggest that you stick with GoDaddy because it's just the easiest to use. And in fact, I will have a whole how-to video on how to register and how to buy a domain name with GoDaddy. Now that you've actually bought your domain name, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind. We see people struggle with this kind of issue on a really regular basis. So make sure you don't have any of those because it will make your life significantly easier. So the first thing I would say is set up auto renewal. This happens all the time. People forget to do this and then they forget to pay and then someone comes in, swoops in and actually steals your domain name. So make sure, set up auto renewal, make sure your card is up to date and so you never have to worry. A quick tip here, if you have the ability to buy the domain name for like more than 2 years, do it. Often it's very inexpensive, especially if you find the right domain name. So to make it easier and to avoid issues, buy it a longer time frame. Of course, keep your contact information up to date. This is important in case anything happens and they try to reach out to you. So this is just really important because trust me, I've been on the receiving end of domains being stolen and it's really not fun. Domain locking is something you could also do to, again, prevent someone transferring your domain name to someone else. Now, a few additional tips here. It's just the importance of security feature. Who is privacy? So your personal information is essentially hidden. And then SSL certificate, this is just a given. You can't not have it. Otherwise, pretty much no one will be able to open your website. So make sure, again, you buy auto renewal of your SSL certificate because if you don't, literally you'll wake up one day and your website won't be accessible. Again, that has happened to me many, many times. So now we literally have it in the calendar when it's meant to renew. We've got auto renew as much as possible. We buy it for as long as we can. So this, again, super important. And at the end of every single section that I'm going to teach, I'm always going to add 5 little action steps of how to actually accomplish that particular section. So here is super simple. Create a list of at least 100 potential domain names. Again, go and check the availability of your brainstorm domain names on all of the different platforms. Narrow down now your list to just about 5 domain names because at the end you just want to buy one. Once you found the one, buy it and go through all the steps, register it properly, and finally implement all of the different security features. Okay, so this is it for this section about registering and selecting your domain name. In this section, I'm going to show you how to build an efficient agency website. So the most important thing is to understand what the goal of your website is. Most of us here, the goal of the agency website is to get your client from an absolute stranger all the way to a potential client. So your website will essentially act as a salesperson. So what you need is to make sure that your client finds every bit of information that they need in order to consider you as a potential partner to help them grow their business. So let's go through the ideal website structure. What you have to have on your agency website is a description of your services, an about section, case studies, and booking links. That's what you must have. If you don't have case studies, try and find something online that again is relevant to the type of services you offer, and again explain what that type of service can do for someone. You don't have to say that you've done it, but you can say that, okay, TikTok shop or TikTok ad has resulted in X amount of growth for this particular business. So of course, ideally, you really want to make sure it's your case study, but there are always ways to get around that, from using your contractor's case study to actually using just a general category or what that general category can do for your prospect. Then a good to have section is testimonial. And of course, this comes in really handy when you first start getting your first few clients. But of course, don't forget that you can also ask people around you to give you testimonial. So once you build your services, once you have a clean offer, make sure that you can essentially show it to people around you so you can build those testimonials. And of course, after this, you can add your social media links as well. Again, here, the goal with designing your website is to just keep it super basic. When you first get started with the agency, there's no need to have a crazy complex website. It literally doesn't matter at all. I know agencies that don't have a website and make $500,000 in revenue a month. So don't overthink it too much, but it's great to have a website as, a stamp of your presence on the internet. You just want to use it as a place where people can find all of the information that they need in order to consider you as a potential partner. So again, simplicity, consistency. So make sure, you don't use too many different colors. We see people go wild with this all the time. Responsiveness needs to make sure it works on all different devices, and specifically now people are using mobile more than ever. So almost make sure that your website's more like a mobile first website, because this is for the majority of you, your prospect will most likely look at your website on mobile. Again, navigation, make it super easy. For the majority of you, when you first get started, I recommend just a single web page. Don't try and have like 100 different pages. You won't even have enough content for that. So focus on one really clean landing page. Again, make sure the loading speed is really good, because otherwise, again, people will bounce. And the whole point here, if you think about the journey of your clients, most likely you'll try and cold outreach them. From that cold outreach, they might then go and do the due diligence, try and click on the link inside your email or wherever, and then go have a look. So if your website is rubbish, if your website takes forever to load, again, you will lose that sale for sure. What you want is you've contacted them somewhere, whether it's an email, cold outreach, referral, ads, however you reach out to them, then you want to make sure they come on your site and they have all of the information that they need. So again, a few conversion optimization tactics. Make sure you got very clear CTAs. Again, don't try and be fancy with this. Make sure it's just extremely clear. That's really the most important. So here, in order to build your website, keep it super simple. I recommend 3 main tools. Again, Wix being one of the easiest and biggest website builder. This will allow you to do pretty much everything you want, and there are tons of templates. Then slightly more advanced, slightly more technical, but again, depending on the type of agency that you run, potentially if you do a little bit more content or a little bit more like branding or actually help people build websites, it could be something you can look at, so you can do something a bit more extravagant. But for the vast majority of you, I would focus on simplicity and make sure that it's just straight to the point and as clear as possible. And again, of course, we built a website builder directly inside Flowsy, and you see later on, I will actually show you all of the different tools that were built within Flowsy, so to make your life much easier. Instead of having to use many different software, it's all inside the one platform. Here are a few different examples that were built inside Flowsy in order to show you what a great agency website looks like. So we created this pretend agency called Integral Marketing Agency. So here's the structure of an ideal website. You first start, and our first section, you want a big headline that essentially describes what you do. You want to have a video that explains all of your services. So you can absolutely skip that point in the beginning, because of course I understand it's daunting to, take time, record something really well. But nowadays, most of you have the ability to do this via tools like Loom. You can easily build a nice little presentation using Google Slide, and then essentially go through that presentation to show your potential clients what you actually do and the type of results people can expect. A video can convey so much information. So if you are able, I think that that's the ideal structure. Big headline that explains what you do, then a video that goes in way more details, and directly a place to schedule a call with you. That's pretty much the most important, because that is the goal of your website, to get people to click on a link and jump on a call with you. Then of course, super important to actually go and explain your services, make it extremely clear what it is that you do and how you do it. So the next section is actually how. Step 1, step 2, step 3, try and distill how you actually service your clients in as little steps as possible, so it's extremely concise and people can be like, oh yeah, wow, I directly understand. Again, another call to action to make sure people book a call with you. And as I said, if you have the ability to show case studies, it's incredibly valuable. So this is what I would recommend here. And then of course at the bottom, make it as easy as possible for your clients to book a call with you, is directly put your booking links. Nowadays, with the rise of social media, pretty much all of us are on social media all the time. So are your clients. So something that we've seen do really well for a lot of agencies is, in order to kind of try and have this website look good on mobile, you can actually build directly a good looking link in bio. So let me show you the kind of thing you can do. You can do this directly inside Flowsy, but of course there's many different tools you can use. But the whole point is the same. Potentially the same VSL, so people directly understand the type of agencies how you operate, the type of results that people can expect, as well as you having a nice call to action at the end to book a call. Then ideally you can show some numbers so people immediately have some sort of social proof and know exactly the kind of agency that you are. Again, explain what you do, because don't forget, if people come from social media, they might not have the full picture of what you do. So again, a section that explains that. And as we just discussed, the whole point of this is to make sure people book a call with you. So directly include your calendar booking links. So between those two types of website, I think you have absolutely everything covered. So a really nice website that of course works great both on desktop and on mobile, but I suggest that you create an additional page and actually create a link in bio specific for your agency. So as I said, in each lesson, I'm adding some ChatGPT prompt just to make your life a bit easier and to just be more efficient. The ChatGPT prompt is, again, very precise. So it's going to help you craft the copy that should be on your website. Start with a template. Honestly, when you're first getting started, don't waste hours and hours trying to come up with the best looking website. First of all, pretty much no one cares. All people want is to make sure that information is easily available and quick to read. So you use a template and essentially just change the images, change the colors, change the copy. That's all I would recommend for you to focus on. You can use ChatGPT to literally copy and paste some of the copy and then directly get it to write variations. So you can use this ChatGPT prompt to do this. Again, there'll be another video that you can find below where I show you exactly step by step how to build your website, connect to domain, and essentially get everything going as well as it can be. As always, quick actionable checklists, define the primary goal of your website, sketch and map the outline of the structure of your website. Inside Flowsy, we have over 50 different templates. Take advantage of this and essentially just repurpose the content that's in there. Choose the right template, write the copy for your website. And lastly, connect your domain name to make sure that your website is live and you can start sharing it around the internet. So that is it for how to build an efficient agency website. In the next section, we'll go through how to set up your social media profiles. So of course now there's no way to avoid getting a presence online. There's no way to avoid being on social media, whether it's, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Honestly, of course, it sounds incredibly daunting to have to go through again the process of having to set up all of the different accounts and think of the different types of content you need to post on each of those platforms. But trust me, this is one of the best time investments you can do. So I'm not suggesting that you go ahead and create a million pieces of content for each of those different platforms, because the reality is if you're a beginner, you will not be able to do this properly. What you need is you need to think of your social media platform as a place where your potential clients can go and find the information that they need in order to potentially think of you as the right partner to help them grow their business. So I don't need you to go ahead and start posting absolutely every single day, do crazy amount of reels, do crazy amount of stories. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is build your social media account just as an online gallery of your business. Simple. People come, they can find all the information. You don't need to start posting every single day. That's a completely different topic where you'll use social media to then try and grow and find clients. Here, we're just talking about setting them up and making sure that people can find what they need from your accounts. As I said, there's many different platforms that you could use. Focus on LinkedIn, because this is one of the most professional platform out there. And what you want is when people are doing the due diligence on you, that you show up in a way that looks essentially like you're not about to scam them. That's pretty much where it all comes down to. People get scammed all day long. So when they receive an email from someone they have no clue, one of the first things they do is Google the actual domain name. So this is where the agency website really is important to make sure on that website, everything's on there. But then sometimes it's easier to just actually look up the person on LinkedIn or search them on other social media platforms. So this is where you want to make sure that, again, you have a nice and professional presence. So LinkedIn for that is one of the easiest and the best platform to do that. Instagram, again, I don't really recommend Instagram as a lead generation platform, even though we know people that do incredibly well with that. I'm just recommending you to have a clean account where people can easily find everything they need. Same thing with X. You can tweet back and forth with a number of different people. It's probably a little bit better for you to grow your network. And YouTube, of course, by far the best platform out of all. This will be the best time investment you can possibly do in your life. But of course, it's incredibly difficult and it takes insane amount of work ethic and consistency to get it to work. But if you can, that is the best thing you could possibly do. That being said, try and do everything you can to at least take steps towards getting that done. So now when looking at setting up your profile, you essentially need to just look at a few things. Make sure you've got professional branding. This should be, again, congruent on your websites, congruent on the other platform. Everything you have should look essentially all consistent. Compelling bios. Inside your bio, you need to make sure that it's extremely clear what it is that you do, because you don't have that much space in your bio. So can't write like a massive paragraph there. But again, people need to just understand what it is that you do and make sure that there you can utilize that to put a link in bio where then they can find more information. Contact information, link in bios, and then engaging content. So I don't need you to post on a frequent basis. You could essentially set it up once, specifically if we're talking about Instagram, same with LinkedIn, but essentially you need to make sure that you've got one snapshot that looks really good. So when people come, there's just everything they need. If you could have downloadable resources in the form of case studies or freebies, that would be even better. So for LinkedIn, let me actually show you an example. Here, Liam Dunn essentially owns an agency called DG Seed, and they help softwares grow via email marketing, ads, and a number of different things. He uses LinkedIn as an incredibly powerful platform. As you can see, he's managed to get over like 8,000 followers. So again, his banner, extremely clear. It directly explains what he does. Efficient growth for B2B SaaS. Testimonial here, which again, social proof always helps. Again, extremely simple description here. This is probably a similar bio that you would have on other platforms like Instagram and where he's from. So of course, on LinkedIn, if you're just getting started, you need to have those 500 plus connections. Otherwise, it doesn't look right. There's many different strategies to do this. One of the easiest is to join different groups. There's many LinkedIn groups, and just start adding people. And often people add you back. And then if you do this for a sufficient amount of time, you'll get there. His about section is incredibly well crafted. As you can see, quick description of what he does with directly recent wins. So this for me, I love, because as you arrive, you know if you're B2B SaaS because you received an email from him, and he would not be emailing people that aren't B2B SaaS. So I'm a B2B SaaS. I go on his LinkedIn profile, and directly I can see the kind of wins that he's had over the last few years. Then of course, something that he has done, which has helped him grow, is write articles. The reason why I would recommend that you do this is because, as you can see, this is pretty much the first section that appears. So even if no one ever reads your article, and now more than ever, you can get the whole thing written with AI. As you can see, he actually writes a lot of different stuff. As you can see, he literally posted 4 days ago, 1 week. But this is something that you could easily do. Go on ChatGPT and literally ask it to write a number of posts. So the goal for you is not to grow on LinkedIn. This is a completely other different strategy, which will require significantly more time and effort. The goal is to make sure that your profile looks good if someone comes and just essentially checks you out, to make sure that you're not a scammer. The most important is you want to say that you're actually the owner, the founder, or that you're the expert, digital expert, whatever it is that you want. I recommend almost for you not to say that you're the founder, because essentially that immediately makes it sound like a fairly small agency, especially if I click onto your agency profile and then I realize that it's nothing. Now, Instagram, as I said, this is not nowadays a platform that's easy to use for cold outreach. But again, if you have already some presence, or if you're already in that space, it can be incredibly valuable. What we're talking about here is to make sure that if someone looks you up, you look the part. So let me show you again an example. The few things that really are important with Instagram is to make sure that you use the bio section and the highlight reels. This is, for me, one of the most important sections, because you can essentially directly highlight the type of work that you do, the services that you offer, the results that you got, and maybe even show your process. So for me, same thing as what you have on your website, where the goal is to show your services, show how you do those services, the type of results that you got, and maybe case studies. Again, use highlights in the exact same way. So this is a design agency. As you can see, extremely clear what they do. A brand building shop. They just help people build brands. And you can see like a work by just clicking on the highlights. So, obviously you can directly see some of the design work that they've done in action. And so essentially, if you receive a cold outreach from those guys and you start looking at the type of work that they've done in the past, you can really be like, oh, wow, okay, this looks really cool. And this is the type of person I want to be working with. In terms of the post, you don't need to have a crazy amount of likes or crazy amount of comments. No one cares. Just make sure you post 3 or 4 rows just to explain what it is that you do. Again, a mix of actual work, a mix of text. There's many different things you can do. Here, the strategy is super simple. Go and find 10 to 20 agencies that play in the same niche as you do and just look at the type of posts that they do and start and replicate that. Because again, we're not talking about a strategy to grow your account. We're just talking about a strategy to make sure that your account looks good if someone ends up coming onto your account. Again, X, same thing. For a lot of you guys, I think X could be incredibly valuable to build a network. But as you can see, what is funny is he posts a very similar amount of content on X that he does on LinkedIn. But for some reason, for him, because he's in B2B, so business to business, SaaS, which is quite a bit of a corporate niche, LinkedIn is a much more powerful platform than X or Instagram would be. And here, just the content that he posts, it's a little bit more candid, but showcases what he does. So don't forget the goal here, not to grow, but just to showcase the work that you do in case someone comes and checks you out. A quick little strategy using ChatGPT. If you use this prompt, it will essentially give you a number of different options for what to write in your LinkedIn bios. So now, quick actionable checklists. Identify the type of clients you're actually trying to pursue. Do some research, make a list of the top profile in niche for each of the different platforms. Set up and optimize your profiles. Develop the content strategy just for that first snapshot that you're going to create. And then of course, start engaging with your audience just to make sure there's a bit of activity on those accounts. So that's it, quick and simple for how to set up your social media profile. So in the course, there are other phases that go way more in depth into how to actually build a personal brand and grow on those different channels. But here the goal is just to make sure that you build a nice presence online. And in the next section, I will show you how to set up your booking links so you can actually start booking calls. So the whole point of having automated booking links is to make sure that you avoid this back and forth of sending an email, be like, hey, do you want to jump on a call with me? The other person says, yeah, sure. Then you sending back some dates, be like, oh yeah, I'm free next Tuesday. And then replying 2 days later, okay, yeah, I'm actually free next Tuesday. But in the meantime, you've already been booked out by someone else. And it creates this massive amount of complexity where essentially you end up chasing your clients to try and find a time to jump on a call. And this is a terrible experience for everyone. You want to make sure that you're as professional and as efficient as possible. And the best way to do this is to use a booking link tool. There's many different tools that you can use, but essentially create something that people can go and book online super easily. Here we're going to go through 3 different tools. One completely free in the form of Google Calendar booking. So you can come in, it's incredibly easy. Of course, you don't have tremendous amount of flexibility with it. You can't customize everything. But again, if you're just starting out and looking for a free alternative, this is ideal. Just go putting the dates that you're free and then people can directly start and book the calls from there. Then as always, with Flowzy, we built it in such a way that you can have your booking link directly inside your workspace to make it much easier. From the booking link, they can directly book, then pay the invoices, then get onboarded onto the funnel, and then join the workspace where you'll essentially manage the entire collaboration. There's a number of different things that are important to look at when thinking about your booking link. But the whole point of what you try and do with cold outreach is not to actually sell your actual services, but it's to sell your call, because it's on the call that you'll be able to display and showcase everything that you do and how your services will benefit your clients, that then they might be interested in actually buying your services. In the description of your booking link, it's incredibly important to think about what's inside. So I'm going to show you. And of course, another option that people can use, Calendly, it's a great option specifically for bigger team that needs like crazy amount of permission. This is awesome. So what to actually include in your booking links. First, and most importantly, to explain the benefit to the clients, right? What are they gonna get from it? Because who would want to jump on a call with a random person just for a free discovery call? No one has time. They want to know exactly what they're gonna get. They need to know exactly what to expect. They need to know how long it's gonna take. They need to know whether they need to prepare things and is this something that's gonna take them forever? Again, people don't have time, they don't want to waste any time. And something that I see a lot of people forget is a client qualifier. What we hear often is, yeah, but I jump on so many calls, but none of them are actually my target clients because they're all too small, they're all too big. So make sure that in your booking link description, directly say who you do those calls for. An example here is just literally write, our services are best suited for brands making a minimum of 50 grand a month. That's immediately clear. For example, if you're a TikTok ad agency or a TikTok shop agency, the title of the call should be called Tips from the Top 1,000 TikTok Ads. That immediately as a client, I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. I'm interested. Like I obviously know TikTok is crushing. I obviously know TikTok would benefit my business, but I just want to know that I'm going to learn something. Smaller description, dive into the most effective TikTok ad strategy in our focus strategy session. We'll cover key insight from the top 1,000 TikTok ads, account optimization, maximize your TikTok presence, content strategy, create a relentless content engine, and ad scaling. So boost your reach and ROI. Again, ideal for brands with a minimum monthly revenue of 50,000 looking to leverage TikTok for substantial growth. Book your session to unlock TikTok's full potential for your brand. If you write that, it'll make it significantly more clear and you'll have a much higher likelihood to actually close client because first of all, they'll be the right clients and they'll know exactly what to expect. And again, the goal of that call is to provide as much value as possible. And once you provided the value, selling becomes incredibly easy. So as always, ChatGPT prompt in order to kind of help you formulate and write the ideal booking link description. If you come in and copy paste and change a number of different things to suit your agency, you'll be able to get ChatGPT to spit out a number of different variations that you can then, it's never immediately perfect, but you kind of take that, tweak it, and you can come up with something that's significantly better than what you would have started with. Quick action checklists for setting up your booking link. First, choose your platform, because again, here, the one thing I recommend is not to end up with a million different platforms because then you'll of course end up with, tons of different sign up, ton of different permissions, of course, maybe some costs associated to that. So try and consolidate as much as possible. Then actually customize your booking links, write your booking links, and then of course, set your availability. In another section, I'm actually going to cover tips on how to do this because I don't think you should have open-ended booking links. You should be extremely precise on when you offer those calls because otherwise your life will be completely taken over by having random calls all the time. That will make your life significantly easier. And of course, integrate your booking link in your link in bios as well as your website. Quick and simple for how to set up your booking links. And in the next section, I'm going to show you how to set up your welcome email flows to make sure that once people come on your website, you can just capture their email and follow up. Because don't forget, the money is in the follow-ups. So here, the whole point is to make sure that if someone does come on your website, that you've managed to capture their email and then follow up with them as much as possible. Because the money is in the follow-up, and essentially a lot of people forget that, they've just come on my website and bounced and nothing happened. But you want to do many different things in order to make sure you capture their emails so you can provide value on a number of different touch points. And at some point, people will say yes if they were the right target in the first place. The goal of your website, again, to make sure that it looks nice, to make sure that people can find all of the information that they need in order to consider you as a potential partner. But then there should be two things on your site that essentially help you capture your target's email. So it could be a simple contact us button. The other thing is on the back end of your booking links, you should make sure that you've got, again, email flows after you've jumped on a call with them. Because what a lot of people forget is they jump on a call with a prospect and that's it. And then they just wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days and then send a follow-up. What you want is you want to have some immediate flows. As soon as you finish, you provide them value. And again, you follow up with a number of different things all the way to them actually considering you as a potential partner. So there's a number of different things you can do with follow-ups, but the goals is to provide value in the form of like a downloadable resource, or like it could be a guide of, again, if you did that call where you showcased the top 1,000 TikTok ads and you explained what was the best type of creative and how it's structured, well, what you could do is you could package all that in a nice little PDF, and at the end of the call with your prospect, be like, and in a few minutes, you'll receive an email from me with the PDF that we just discussed, and essentially you have free value, pretty much. That's one thing. And the second thing is to make sure that you, again, try and jump on a second call if you've already jumped on a call with them, or on the first initial call with them. So that's the goal of the welcome flow sequences. Of course, you can always create as many different emails as you want, but realistically, I think if you focus on 5 key emails, you'll get everything that you want from that. So of course, the first one is quick welcome, because people have either visited your website first or they've jumped on a call with you. Then again, you want to highlight your services and try and get them to book a call. You want to provide value in the second or third email. Make sure that you have some sort of downloadable, freebie, whatever it may be. Again, testimonials, and of course, final call to action on the last email. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you like more tactical type of emails, because it's so good and well. Like, and I know when I first started, when people say, yeah, you should write all those emails, but you're always like, okay, cool story, but what should be inside those emails? So I literally handwritten emails that I think would be good. So again, let's use that example of a TikTok ads / TikTok shop agency. The goal here is to just thank the subscriber for signing up or jumping on a call with you, make it super simple and set the expectation of what's about to happen. So subject line, welcome to name of your agency, and unlock your TikTok potential. So again, they remember what it's about because people receive tons of emails, and so you need to make sure it's extremely clear. And then make it simple in the body. Keep it concise, no need for massive paragraph. Keep it friendly as well, unless you're doing some extremely B2B thing like working in finance, maybe doctors, law, where you need to write in an extremely professional way. In the rest of the world, you can pretty much be a little bit more casual. And actually, I would recommend that you do this. If it's too strict, the language they use is too corporate, well, then some people will be like, oh, they don't even understand TikTok. Specifically, if you have a TikTok ad agency, TikTok, you need to be like fun. It's almost like the Gen Z type of language you should use. So essentially just keep it casual. Welcome to my agency. We love TikTok ad and TikTok shop. Our mission is simple: to help you connect with your audience on TikTok authentically and efficiently. We've helped over 20 brands set the TikTok shop and grow the revenue by over 350%. We can't wait to do the same for you. Let's jump on a call to chat about what we've discovered after analyzing the top 1,000 TikTok ads and how we can immediately help you grow. Book here, best regard, name of my agency. If you send an email like that, nice and concise, you'll have a very high likelihood that people will actually want to engage with you. So again, you send that as the first email, then a day later, send us a follow-up. Now is to dig a little deeper in, what your services are and how you actually operate. Hello, name of the prospect. Diving deeper into what we do at Neo Agency, our focus is on maximizing your brand's performance on TikTok through strategic ad campaigns and optimizing your TikTok shop for increased sales. Again, a paragraph about what you do for TikTok ads. So TikTok ads, our approach starts with understanding your brand's voice and audience. From there, we craft tailored ad campaigns designed to engage, blah, 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 all the stuff about TikTok ads. Second paragraph, again, describing exactly what you do for TikTok shop. So people know there's no question about what it is that you do. And again, you explain how you do things. And at the end, a clean call to action to jump on a call with you. Now it's up to email 3. So this is now going to be sent 2 days after email 2. So essentially 3 days after the first welcome email. And now the goal is to really provide value and offer a freebie. So as I said, it could be the freebie that you talked on the call with your prospect, or it could be something that you created that's entirely new. The more value you provide, the better it is. As I said, the second you've provided insane amount of value to people, sales become extremely easy. So now, for example, the subject line could be our tip from the top 1,000 TikTok ads. Again, hello, name of the prospect. As promised, we're excited to offer you a free downloadable guide, the ultimate TikTok strategy for brands. This comprehensive guide is packed with insight from successful TikTok campaigns, step-by-step strategies for TikTok ads and shop, and actionable tips to elevate your brand's presence on TikTok. What's inside, so people know exactly, key TikTok ad strategies, how to set up and optimize your TikTok shop, content creation tips, and again, a link for them to download this. A quick call to action to say that you're there to help them with whatever they need, and of course to go and book a call with you again. Now we're on to email 4. So again, I'll recommend that you send that again another 2 days after email 3. So now it will be 5 days since the first welcome email. And now this is like really to show the type of result that you've got for other people, because at the end of the day, that's almost the most important thing that your prospects care about. So subject line, success on TikTok, how we've helped name of a client get over 60,000 followers on TikTok. So of course that will grab them their attention immediately. And then, you could say something like, hello, name of the prospect, TikTok marketing is insane. Check out our latest success story. See how we've helped name of clients achieve X increase in engagement sales through targeted TikTok ads and an optimized TikTok shop campaign. This case study showcased a step-by-step strategy and how it resulted in next level results. Again, link to the case study again /freebie, and then ask them a question. This is always important. Ready to scale using TikTok? Let's chat, book your call here. Clear call to action at the end of the sequence. Make sure you've got essentially a closing email to either make sure that people leave your list or for you to put them in a different category altogether if they don't reply. So TikTok transformation awaits for the subject line, and then something like hello, name of the prospect. We've noticed you haven't booked your strategy session or downloaded our TikTok guide. We're here to remind you that unparalleled TikTok success is just a click away. Don't leave your TikTok potential untapped. Book your call or download your guide today and start making waves on TikTok. Again, book your call, download your guide, and see you on the other side, name of your agency. So as I said, the key components for each of those emails is personalization, clear call to action, and value proposition. That literally is it. Again, incredibly lucky that nowadays you can ask ChatGPT to do this. In the video how to write your welcome sequences, I'm going to show you a number of GPTs that you can actually use to get really advanced with how to craft personalized copy and how to come up with really cool emails. But here with this ChatGPT prompt, you can already do that because we've essentially crafted it in such a way that if you just change a few things about the type of services you do, it will spit out 5 really clean emails that you can use and repurpose on a number of different places, both on your website or your social media. As always, a few different action steps. Define your audience because you need to understand what they care about and what your email is going to be about. Craft your welcome email content. Now, ChatGPT, AI, you got no excuses. Select your email marketing tool. This is really important. Then set up your email sequence. So make sure that you've actually linked that to whatever platform you use. So for example, for very simple emails, you can do that directly inside Flowzy. And of course, this is something as you start getting more and more traffic to just test and optimize your email campaigns. So this concludes the module called Loading Your Raffle, where we covered everything you need to set up to get started with your agency. In the next module, we'll go through all the different things you need to set up for your internal processes. So we'll literally go through your entire tech stack and every single tool you need to have an efficient and well-oiled agency. I'll see you there.